number 7 Tan, number 9 Hu, and number 10 Li. Shot the referee, Marzena and Deqing into there, and we have the team's called to order, and we are ready to start. As the teams line up, just a quick reminder that the under-21 men's final is now scheduled to start at 16:45 local time. That's 15 minutes prior to that previously advertised. Failing light here at Deqing, obliging the organisers to make some scheduled changes, and that's the only one today, is that the under-21 men's final has been pulled forward by 15 minutes. This is an intermediate group playing off for 13th to 17th place. Very early stages in this group, so hard really to judge exactly where things are at, but these two teams, Japan second in that group at the moment, and China in 4th, so really mid-table, all to play for. Little bit of wind noise, we'll try and compensate for that as best we can with sound, but it is very, very windy here today. First day there's been wind. We've had a nice mix of weather, no snow though yet, fortunately. It's about 20 degrees this morning. We've had rain, some really bright sunshine yesterday, and we're a little cooler today. It's been mid-20s so far, but that ball pops under the boat, and China enjoy their first period of possession. Goes out to Su. Long ball forward, it bounces off the boat of Li. That's disappointing for her. Does recover it. Bit of confusion, yeah, an obstruction call there. I think a screen just run for Su to make sure she stayed out of trouble. I'm not sure she needed the help, and it's conceded a foul. But now Japan, Matsumoto. Japan long-term attendees at World Championships, obviously hosted the Miyoshi Championship 20 years ago in Japan, last time we were in Asia, but China, debutantes at this event, host nation, and their first championship. They'll get their first world ranking points, put them on the ICF roster of nations that have competed. Watched this team get its first draw yesterday. Very, very hard, your first championship. I've seen many nations enter that fray. First time getting your athletes to understand what's involved and what standard is expected. The only real way to blood them is to get them to the event. They've found some difficult games against the top ranked sides. Drew yesterday in a phenomenal game with Hong Kong, China. I was lucky enough to see that, and I celebrated that as well. They might. So they've proved they can play. They've proved they can score goals. They can prove they can mix it with the other teams. And now Japan versus China. And that's wide and wild really from Matsumoto. Li takes the throw, and to Su. Whips the ball forwards to Hurier. She takes a shot, but again, that's wild. I think the targeting scanners of both these teams need a little bit of calibration. Unusual at this level to see so many shots going quite so wide. Both of these teams can do better than that. I've seen that for myself. Coaches will be going, come on. It's windy and it's early morning, but let's hit that target. So 2 players inside from Japan trying to get some inroads into the Chinese attack, get close, but the 3 players on the outside content at this stage to just allow the shot clock to drift down into the 30 before they launch their attack, and it launches through Matsumoto, spins it out to the her left, and again that's Kumagi, but she takes her turn at blazing one high and wide. So end-to-end stuff, both teams enjoying little bits of a possession but getting up there, and I'm really to say that they've not tested either goalkeeper would be fair. And that Su puts one away, but it's brought down comfortably by the defence, not making it to the keeper. We'll point out the first goalkeeper save when we get one, which will just give some indication of how unusually wayward these teams are being with the shooting. Yamamoto here, she puts one up, and again that's wide. Keeper didn't even have a paddle up. I think she'd caught it under the goal line. Lee in the Chinese goal, and so they in turn take their goal throw. Luo dribbling up, no urgency. I think both these teams a little bit cagey. It's quite an important game for them, but I think they're keen not to slip up more than anything. And again, that one actually scuffed the bar. Perhaps we are getting some calibration now, but it's still a goal line throw. Local crowd, bigger than it's been in the week, as you would expect, as we hit the weekend. Leaning over the railings at the far side. And in the stands behind us, there is access for them, obviously, to the general viewing areas, but that is a public area over on the far side that you can see, and the organisers expecting that to be packed later in the day or later in the weekend. Very sure it will be. Been made very welcome here in China, I have to say. And the driving run comes. Now that is on target, and that's Nakamura. Really didn't do more than they've done before, but this one was on target, and that's the first goal. So well played to her, shown them the way. Is that going to wake everybody up? Hit the target. First step, if it doesn't have to be saved, really easy enough. But now China have to respond. First goal to Japan, they lead by 1-0. 4 minutes on the first half remaining. And this has woken it up. Lee goes into the Japanese defence, working for something. She's also joined by Su. The outside players come round. That shot taken by Luo, but to nothing, and Japan recover it. Streaming away to Japan now. It's woken them up, that goal. Certainly picked up the pace. Enthusiasm just seems to have risen suddenly, and we've got a real attack coming here from Masamoto. She in turn pings one. Now that's a proper shot, comes off the inside of the bar, but it's on target outside of a bar. That one needed saving, I think, and that was punched out by Lee. More defending than goalkeeping, but she's dropping into goal now, but she definitely had that out. So that's 3 decent shots on the spin. This game's woken up, and that's what we needed. Going to be taken here by Oshiro. Huge wind noise coming through the mics. I'm hoping you're not picking that up at home as loud as we are here. Backroom boys hopefully ironing it out for you. Japan's star-shape attack. Which side are they going to shoot from eventually? I would have said Oshiro, but she's overcooked a run, I think. They are still looking to work it inside. That's good play from Japan. They've got a good chance of scoring that way, but not on this occasion. China recover it and come away. This Chinese team improved so much through the week. It is very, very hard to quantify how much it means to compete at a championship. Really come out of their shells. Again, it's slightly strange, but going behind by a goal seems to have just brought them out. They're really playing better now. So much better than at the beginning of the half. It was very pedestrian the first few minutes of this game, but not anymore. That's a long ball forwards. That's a contest and a half. Masamoto under pressure, but gets it away. Now that's a lot of time. Yeah, far too much time for Nakamura. She proved she can score under pressure. She can certainly score with that much time to play with. So Nakamura sprints back. Japan going to a 2-0 lead. Host nation China now, can they respond? 2 minutes. Be lovely to get one of those before half time. Big shot there. Fantastic. Kamagi shouting at her team. My Japanese not quite good enough to work out what she is telling them, but she's clearly bossing something as she brings the ball up very slowly. Slips it out to Masamoto, who returns it immediately. This play being clearly controlled by Kamagi. Masamoto pings it well. If that was the plan worked beautifully. It was very, very simple. Kamagi down to Masamoto, and that's a goal. So Japan take a 3-goal lead inside the last minute of the first half. That stings. China bring the ball up to the halfway to restart. Right, the intent's here from China, streaming forward, driven into the Japanese defence, pushing it back, trying to make some space. They've got 40 seconds. It's enough to stage a real attack if they push it. That's big, big air. The shot coming from Luo. But again, missing the target. 20 seconds on the half. Japan looking for another goal. I think they are. They've got time if they bring this up quickly. In Masamoto's hands, goes out wide to Nakamura. No, that shot came and it was blocked down. That's going to be half time. So 3-0, Japan lead China. Senior women's game in the classification group 13 to 17. Too early to call this group really. Australia currently after one game after 2 games, sitting at the bottom of that group, but very sure that won't be the position at the end of the day. This group is settled today because it leads to the final placings for these teams. And we'll have to come back to see. Permutation's just far too complex, but obviously if Japan do go on to win this game, that would consolidate their position in second place and possibly move them further on. So we have just a moment just to remind you that the under-21 men's final has been pulled forward by 15 minutes to 16:45 local time, and we are looking at the Japanese women's team. They are number 1, the captain Horie, number 2, Kamagi, number 3, Yoshiro, number 4, Matsumoto, number 5, Nakamura, number 6, Tsuchihashi, number 7, Yamamoto, number 8, Yoko Ono, number 9, Kitamura. And as we switch across to the home team, the media team will swing us across just to have a look at the Chinese women's team in just a moment. And they are number 1, Li, number 2, the captain Huang, number 3, Li, number 4, Luo, number 5, Su, number 6, Li, number 7, Tan, number 8, Hu, and number 10, Li. Just getting their instructions and some water. Really a massive learning curve for them, but they've settled into this. They're playing better and better game by game. Obviously at a championship like this, there's no easy games for anyone, but they've played their hearts out early on, and now suddenly in this group particularly, they're finding their feet. The classification groups, I don't think it will be possible for them to have come higher than this group, and now they're toe-to-toe with people who they can actually contest with. Playing very well. Game they played with Hong Kong yesterday, very, very exciting, and they really will have something to take away from this that is invaluable. You can't get experience any other way than by doing the business, and they've been doing it here, being applauded by their coach, and well they might. Done themselves proud, whatever the outcome. Japan, as I say, long-serving members of the Polo family, and they're looking pretty happy and relaxed with a 3-goal lead at half-time. As well they might, and they better be careful. If they underestimate their Chinese opponent, it will come back to haunt them, but you have to say 3-0 at half-time is a comfortable lead for a team. They are ranked obviously much, much higher. Chinese will earn their first ranking and will, I'm very sure, maintain that ranking. They will, of course, qualify, or have indeed qualified for the World Games as a host nation by being here, China. So they will be at the World Games in Chengdu next August. And I'm sure they will learn as much there as they have here. And we're away. Who takes that start for the Japanese? It is Matsumoto up against Lee for China. And Matsumoto gets the better of that contest again. Japan, yes, you can see the smiling faces from here. They've got the ball, they've got the lead. They're obviously comfortable. They're doing well in this group. I think they were probably a little disappointed to find themselves competing in this range in 13th to 17th, but they're here, they're making their best of it, and they're doing very well. So if they get their ranking up to, say, 13th or 14th, they'll have done pretty well. They won't mind that too much, but I think they had a little bit of loftier ambition when they actually stepped off the plane. But all teams, you have to play these groups as you find them. Move yourself up the ranking as far as you can. No team likes to go away from a championship with a worse ranking than that they started with. The ambition is always to improve it. If you were second, you want to come first this time, and that is no different all the way down the steps of the ranking. If you improve your nation's ranking, you help the future generations, and you can do yourself proud. Here, a battle going on, Luo. This is a battle royal. This is exactly what I mean about learning about championship power. The scrapping going on there with the Chinese and Japanese, quite exceptional. Psst. Mister. Thank you, Shen. Just had a spectator with a camera stood directly in front of our commentary position. Couldn't see the pitch at all. A little bit of language help from my Chinese media colleagues to slide him to the left. Our commentary position is directly opposite from the timekeeper's tents. We have a cameraman stood directly in front of us so that we can't see the centre of the pitch other than on the monitor screens. And when a member of the public joins in to block our view of the goal that happens to be being attacked, it gets a little tricky to describe the action to you. So forgive me for that moment. Silence, and we go again. Nakamura. And that recycles out towards Matsumoto, and that's it. 4-0 now, Japan lead. 7 minutes to go, and I think they will probably just stretch this lead slightly, but you never know. I don't want to write this Chinese team off after what I saw them do against Hong Kong yesterday, the comeback they staged and the performance they put in, but I think the Japanese team are going to prove just a little too strong for them here. That's good work there from Matsumoto. Put a Chinese counterparts, the two of them, under a huge amount of pressure. Now it's Lee feeling the full force, but it was Lee and Luo. And Lee and Luo having to work very, very hard to keep this ball for China. The shot clock ticking down. They're going to have to involve, well, I tried to involve more Sue, but she's received a weak pass. And I think in turn, she's under pressure. So this is chasing out from Japan. Wonder if they're seeking a little bit of goal difference. It might help them later in the group. They're certainly making life very, very difficult for their Chinese counterparts, and this goes banging forward. Is she going to? This is a dangerous situation for China, but they've picked the ball up and they just stole that away. I really think that Matsumoto thought she had some kind of protection from the referee that just wasn't there. I don't quite know what she thought was happening, but that pick up by Jushi Haishi for Japan goes off the top bar. I think she'll be a bit disappointed there. Should have hit the target. That would have been enough. Now it's the turn of Hu to try and move this Japanese 3-in-1 defence around. Not getting much joy, and a loose pass just brings Sushi Haishi into the play. And she's away. Japan dribbling forwards. Can this land? Not quite. If that had landed for Yamamoto, that would have been trouble. Oh, that's a careless foul. Lent on the boat, I think, there, Sue. That is costly because that's right in front of the Chinese goal. Japan forwards. The referee's just organising where they want this taking from, I think, because I think the players are more not certain. They're not trying to take a liberty here. They're just not really sure where they're being expected to take the throw from. Corner ball, so Japan got the Chinese pinned slightly in their goal. Two men punched inside, Tsuchi Haishi and Yamamoto, trying to make something happen, but the runners here, the big shooters really for Japan, will come into play here. Throw's going to be taken by Kumagi. She dribbles, allows the runners to build some pace. Quick pass inside, looks across the far side, but that pass nowhere near controlled. And Lee is out at pace to pick it up. Oh, lent over the boat. That was a good recovery from Matsumoto. So I think that really should have been Lee's all day long, but she got a kayak there and drew a foul. And that's good enough when you've got a lead of 4. If you can hold possession, there's not really much your opponent can do about it. Ball being held on the point. And now moved forward by Kamagi. Yeah, working some drills here really. Runner receives the ball, cuts it inside. It ends up with Tsuchi Haishi, and she finishes it. Just squeezing out another goal. China responding, but blocked down on about the 6-metre line by the Japanese defence, and it's a corner ball. It will keep China on the offensive at this stage, and I'm pretty sure they'd like to score another goal. They celebrate a goal in some fine style. They're hard to come by at championships, and well they might. Nice shot there of Sue. And that shot up, but off the top bar. Oh, corner ball. I think the Japanese coach and me were expecting that to be a goal line throw. Both referees quite certain they're that much closer to the action than I am. That caught a touch on the way out. Hu. A shot coming there from Sue, but really to nothing. That's a bit unlucky because that was blocked down by Kitamura. You might normally expect that to be a corner, but I think the back of Sue's boat just nudged it over the line. Very unfortunate from her point of view. Now we come through Yokono. And moving forwards, I think Japan just likely to stretch their lead here. I can't see, there's no comeback for Japan now, but they're playing well. Yep, that's another one, and this time it's Yokono. Yeah, she comes back, looks pleased to put one on the goal next to her name. Always nice. She can go home, say she scored at the championship. And China, line of 5, streaming forwards. Clearly not giving up as you would expect. They've kept fighting in all their games. They know this is over as a contest, but they can still get something out of it, but not if they commit silly fouls like that. Obstruction calls being picked up by Japan. Better be very, very careful there. Sue making it difficult for her opponent to get and take the ball. Oh, they're pressing now, China. I don't know whether this will work for them, but got to admire that. Learning these tactics and working these tactics against a difficult opponent. Tushi Haishi pushing for the ball and takes it off, and it's a corner off the Chinese kayak. Inside the last minute, of course. China acquitted themselves well, but really the dominance of Japan was just step by step, kept the scoreboard ticking over, and Japan currently leading by 6. Long, high ball to Kamagi. She's in no hurry to pick that up. I'm not sure whether Japan want another attack or not, whether they're just going to take this win. Kamagi's going to make a last run. Might as well. Not sure how much difference it makes. I suppose another goal of difference in the group might make the odds. It is tight, and that goal difference is going to fall once more to the ever-productive Masamoto. She's had a good game in terms of scoring there, but 7-0. Not very flattering for the Chinese. Doesn't really reward the effort they've shown. But as I say, Japan, much longer pedigree, 10 championships under their belt. I'm afraid that just shows in the end. But I dare say in 10 years' time, China will be giving the same sort of lesson to some other newbie team. Referee's just making sure the restart throw taken absolutely perfectly. And thrown forward, recovered really just in the embers by Tushi Haishi. And Japan run out 7-0 winners over China in the women's classification group, 13-17. Goes with the form really, but this is cementing China's first ICF ranking, and as I say, they are automatically qualified for the World Games in Chengdu next year, August. And we will be back with the next game, which is another of the classifying group 13-17 women. This one, Australia and Hong Kong women. We'll be back with you later.